some people. But with the pandemic, these tools weren't like something you use occasionally, while the rest of the time you're just working in the office and having meetings in person and working on your own, or maybe with a colleague sitting next to you. You had to work completely from home with other people. So all these tools suddenly became really essential, but the fact that they were like all separate tools didn't really help. And well, I think unfortunately for all of us, there was one company that really jumped into this with the right product at the right time. That is these fine folks, Microsoft Teams. They really built an integrated product that brings all these things together, like a real work from home solution. And of course, they aggressively brought it to lots of organizations, even offering it for free for some organizations, universities and hospitals across the world often got it free. And well, the results of this since then have been pretty clear, right? Like Dropbox has been firing people, Slack is losing market share, and then the trust complaint against Microsoft because it's eating their lunch. Zoom stock is going down. So open source really needs an answer to this specific question. And all these separate tools, even if you glue them and Frankenstein them together, it's not really a good answer. So what I want to argue is what we've been building, Excel Talk, is designed as the answer to Microsoft Teams. So why is it important? As I said, open source needs an answer because Teams is really central to Microsoft's strategy to lock users in. And it's really, if you use Teams, you'll be uploading your documents in Teams, all your communication goes in Teams, and all the documents you might be able to export, the communication is really hard to export, and it's hard to get at the data and get it out of there. So it's really a huge vendor lock-in tool, basically, getting organizations completely locked in. And so open source really needs an integrated communication and collaboration platform, a solution that does respect users' privacy, gives them sovereignty, gives them control. And so that's what we have built with Nextcloud Talk. It's completely on-premise, open source, keeps the data in your own data center, and has all these different components that are integrated. So that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit next year, because we really already in 2016, when we started the company, really saw that just file sharing was not enough. We need to integrate more functionality, so we very quickly integrated Office, and then later, of course, started development of Nextcloud Talk. It's really about the future of working, right? Work is hybrid, you're on the go, always connected. I mean, I don't think I need to tell this to most of you. You're always checking your mail, using your smartwatch and other tools. Even, some people are experimenting, of course, with the virtual reality kind of tools from Apple and other vendors. You do your video calls with team members in different offices, external parties, even 3D, and of course presentations. Webinars have really taken off. There are universities that are completely online, where people do their classes online in like webinar-like formats with hundreds or even thousands of participants. And Microsoft Teams is really getting its fingers in all of that. And you can use the tools for the whole shebang there. So that's what Nextcloud Talk is also designed to address. All these basic needs of a modern organization that allow teams to collaborate and work together, as well as the integration of third-party tools. We've been working a lot on integrating with other tools as well. So it's really this private cloud thing that you can run on-premise or at a local provider. So we focused on three main use cases, which is what Teams does as well, and which again, many of the competition really started out with only one of these. And the first is of course Team Chat, where you, like Slack and Mattermouse and such, it's really designed to help a team during the way they collaborate, chat across different chat rooms with all the standard things that you need for that. So, it looks like this. You have a series of chat rooms on the left, and we also have a compact mode now that if you want everything closer together, you can have that. We're working on grouping things up a little bit as well. And then, in the middle you have the big chat room. As you can see, you can add also all kind of content there, so you can add documents and notes and polls and other things. Voice messages, etc., and other resources you can see in the sidebar on the right. There go polls and shared documents, voice messages, locations, everything under the shared items there. So just have a quick look at how this works. Like you can, from within Talk, you can add, for example, a deck board with tasks, etc. You can just click on them, edit the task. You can share a document. You can just click and edit it. So you need to open a new tab or look up the document in the file tree. It's all just there without having to navigate away and need to do fancy stuff, so to say. Polls, etc. Like in the sidebar, you can access all of this as well. Easily search for it as well. So it's all nicely integrated. We also integrated some AI functionality. Earlier, yesterday, I gave a talk about how you can integrate AI in an ethical way, right? Our approach to AI, I've explained yesterday. So if you want to learn more about it, you're more than welcome to join and chat about that. And of course, you have all these things like, translating messages, turning a voicemail into text. You can also do the things like mark messages, unread, set reminders, searching for rooms. So it's really complete replacement for Slack or Teams when it comes to team collaboration. I already mentioned the assistant, so summarize chats, all kinds of other stuff. And of course, if you have chat rooms with hundreds of messages, it can, for example, automatically summarize the unread messages so that you don't need to read all of them or mark as read. So Tom Moore, that was like the first major functionality, so letting the team collaborate via chat. This is also available on mobile, right? All the functionality is available on mobile and in the desktop app. I think the desktop app is what you just saw there. Alright, so the second major functionality is video meetings. So basically where you have calls to share and discuss things. So you have a grid view or a speaker view. I think there's one more view. You can record calls and then later from the AI get summaries of the call or just transcript. We spend a lot of time in calls. We also have a bunch of tools to try and help people maintain their sanity. There's a warning at 1 hour. We also show the speaking time. Unfortunately, in meetings, I'm often the one who speaks the most. It's kind of good to have a timer on the side that tells you maybe that other people have a shot to speak as well. Or, what is that employee that never speaks up? I think that's really quite nice. I wanted to see if I could show a video of the whiteboard in action. That works, but sounds...
It's your collaborative, real-time sketching tool, allowing you to create beautiful hand-drawn stylistic diagrams, project plans, brainstorm notes, and more with your friends and colleagues. Your whiteboards are stored in an open format, and no data leaks beyond your server, so your creations will always be yours. Complement your conversations and video calls in Talk by creating a new whiteboard from the plus icon. You can even design your drawings and diagrams immediately from within a call. Thanks to support for instant collaboration, your friends and colleagues can join you and create and brainstorm together. Nextcloud Whiteboard is super easy to use. It offers all needed tools to create and customize shapes, add text, highlight relationships with customizable arrows, and much more. Need to present your ideas? Nextcloud Whiteboard makes this easy too. Use the integrated laser pointer to guide others through your plans for world domination. Transition to a new whiteboard being screen shared from within a Talk conversation with several participants.
In the interest of time, I'm going to move on, but again, quite a nice whiteboard integrated there. I hope the audio kind of worked. Was it loud enough? Alright, cool. I might have another video also. So again, a complete video calling solution, that you can use with people internally or externally. You can just send a link to people externally, or you can invite them via email address. I'll get to that also in the next section, because that's the third major use case, which is webinars and training. So use in education, for example, in schools, etc., where this is really important to scale to a lot of people. And of course have user interface that adapts to that and allows that. And it's often used for, large web conferences. It has basically basic moderation features, so you can manage the participants, you can promote, demote individuals, make other people moderator, manage permissions. whether people can send chat messages, share screen, all these things. You can set defaults. You can also, limit access, of course, and also control this by individuals that are external, so they came via an email address, for example. So you can invite people just by sending a link, but you can also invite them by an email address. And then if you invite them by an email address, you can later see, of course, who actually joined, because they will get a unique link, and you can already prepare permissions, for example. You can import a spreadsheet to invite like 1,000 people via email, and then later also export a spreadsheet of all the people who joined. And then of course there's all the screen sharing, chat, microphone, etc. And I think this was a video? Yeah, exactly, this was playing as well. Sorry for that, I think I wanted to show how you can import, export people here. Most of this I think I've shown. Okay, yeah. So you can also ask input with polls. You can, create like a bunch of standard polls, save them as a file, and then when you do a new webinar, you can import the file so you have the polls immediately ready every time you do webinars, or just save them as drafts. Again, our team is doing a lot of webinars, so we have a bunch of features for this that really helps. One kind of cool feature is also breakout rooms. So you can split the call into multiple breakout rooms, have everybody, have a sub-call there with a sub-moderator, and then as moderator can switch between those rooms, join the different calls. And then at the end, you can bring everybody back to the main room, and you can pre-select people, you can let people choose themselves which room they want to join, or you can randomly assign people to a room. This is all easily possible. So it scales really to large calls. Depending on the size and of course moderation choices you make, you can have everybody have a webcam on or not. Of course, a large number of people, you get a lot of load on the network, so that will be a limitation, but it will automatically only show like a limited number of images there. And then of course you have the screen sharing, working on documents you can do together, the whiteboarding, etc. So again, webinars, education, it can take care of that. So those are the main use cases that Teams fulfills, and that if you want to build a competitor, you need to take care of as well. And we've been working a lot on this. Of course, we cover mobile clients as well, Android, iOS. So this supports generally all the functionality of Talk, so you can do a screen share from your mobile phone, or you can, on your mobile phone, join a presentation and then zoom in, because small screen, quite helpful for your meetings on the go. Been using that this week as well. And there's a desktop client where you can have all the basic functionality as well. So you can have your calls and chats there accessible, and we will add some desktop specific features there as well over time. Not everything is possible in the browser, so you really need these desktop app. As I mentioned, AI, we have a bunch of AI features integrated as well, and this runs on premises following the presentation I gave yesterday. So if you want, you can run it on premises, or if you're fine with ChatGPT, you can use it as well, so it's backend independent. So if you don't want, you don't have any leaking to third party. And really cool, we support federation, which I think for a decentralized technology like ours is really important, of course. So you can invite people from another Nextcloud instance, and they just stay on their own instance. They just get a chat room that is federated, and they get notifications. Everything is normal, like it's on their own instance. But you can have people from like 10 instances all in one chat room, and everybody's just using their own Nextcloud server. So if you have government, the federal government, like different departments running their own Nextcloud instance, then people from the different departments can invite each other, just collaborate. And, they will barely notice that they're actually on a different server. This works for video calls and chat as well. Of course, all the file sharing is federated as well. Of course, you can also create guest accounts, but with this, you don't need to create guest accounts if the other person already has their own Nextcloud. I think that's quite nice. The invite works just with a federated cloud ID. You just put it in the input box where you invite people, and then they will get an invite basically, and you can have your calls and your chat and everything else, even a mobile phone, right? So that's nice. We also introduced end-to-end encryption for the video calls in last release, which I think is a nice addition as well. People have been asking for it. End-to-end encryption is a bit of an interesting subject because I know a lot of private users, they want end-to-end encryption, but in a business environment you usually can't have that because you need to be able as administrator to access, for example, chat logs, and in case there's a legal request, for example, for this. So this is, I think, in the end more of a private home user feature, but then there's 500,000 Nextcloud servers on the internet, and most of those are private users. So, well, this is something I guess we developed for the community in that way. For most businesses, this is perhaps not something they would use. So, going back all the way to the start of the presentation, you know, as I said, all technologies become obsolete and they're replaced by new ones. And as I said, I think there's really a need for replacement for Microsoft Teams that really takes privacy serious, but still has all the features that an organization needs. And that's what we introduce in the next talk. So, the answer to Teams. I'd love to hear what you think and if you have any questions.
I think privacy protecting tools are super important, so it's really exciting that you guys have been able to develop this so quickly. Are there any questions?
Ooh, let's see. That was our latest release that we did some weeks ago. In a few weeks we have an updated Munich coming, by the way. Yeah.
Okay, it's, well, I would say it looks like a very nice and neat solution. I haven't heard of it. I knew about Nextcloud storage solution. And yeah, I have used before Jitsi. And I work with some NGOs, and sometimes it has been a struggle like to get access to run webinars because it's expensive, especially if you're an NGO. So I mean, this definitely makes it like affordable to spread not only knowledge but awareness about things that are happening. Yeah, so it's awesome. Congrats.
Thank you. Those are the best questions, I guess.
Do you want feedback, Jos?
Yeah, no, definitely. I appreciate hearing that. Yeah, we had got a lot of good feedback. That's always nice to hear. It's true.
Can you talk a little bit about what it's like to operate, for an administrator, right? It's one thing to operate a regular Nextcloud instance that does files and calendaring and those basic things, but when you start talking about, about video calls, chats, things that require low latencies, and then you also have like federation features. I can imagine that being kind of a big ask from an operational perspective.
Yeah, we put a fair bit of effort in trying to make it easy to run. Of course, there's a very big difference between running this for 100K people at a university, right? And we have customers with literally tens of millions of users. And at that scale, well, I would say if you're smart, work with us. That's of course what we do, right, to help customers run at that scale. But if you would ever visit our website looking for what we offer and Nextcloud Enterprise, you will find there's nothing below 100 users because we believe that, we don't fundamentally aim to monetize private users, right? We started Nextcloud to give people privacy, and we did not want to monetize that, to keep the barrier as low as possible. And also for small businesses, I think, we try to make it as easy as possible. So if you use our Nextcloud all-in-one Docker container, running up to, say, 100 users, mostly just requires decent hardware and a decent network connection. And it should really require minimal work from you as a sysadmin, because really 95% of the complexity is taken care of. Like the signaling service, the SFU, the forwarding for the video calls, all of this is included. The Office component, all the different pieces. So when we started Nextcloud, it was obviously very simple, and I could always say, oh, it's just a simple PHP app, just drop it in a folder where the PHP files live, and it works. Now, obviously, that's no longer the case when you want all these things. We've built a bunch of other components in Go. I believe the talk backend is written in Go. We have a Rust component for files, just being quite pragmatic, what works, works. And you need Redis and other stuff. But really, this complexity is really taken care of quite well by the Nextcloud all-in-one. So anything up to easily 100 users, you really do yourself a favor and get the all-in-one. It takes care of everything. Certainly as a home user, I personally was running Nextcloud, the old way, Apache, PHP, and SQL at home. But I'm very technical, but I'm not good with networking and sysadmin stuff. It was always a pain to keep it working. And once I finally moved to the all-in-one, it's just been a breeze. It's really no maintenance, it updates itself. It basically runs a bunch of containers and then orchestrates those containers. It's like a little, it's not cluster, but it's just a little container orchestration thingy in one. Again, some people will say, oh, nasty, that's not how you should use Docker, but again, for a smaller instance, it's wonderful. And for big ones, as a customer, we have a Kubernetes help chart that essentially does the same thing as all-in-one, but at scale, making it also, again, relatively easy. And again, when I say relatively easy, I say relatively because I know sysadmin's life is never easy, but we make it as easy as possible.
So talking about interoperability, are there any plans for interoperability with, for example, conferencing room hardware, like video conferencing hardware, or also other systems that are not Nextcloud Talk, like Matrix?
We actually support a number of conferencing systems. I believe there's some Cisco hardware that works, a few other things. We're at Nextcloud always trying to use open protocols and standards and stuff, don't implement our own file transfer protocol, we just use WebDAV, with all the pros and cons that brings, right? Standards have often history and some downsides, but we try and stick as much as possible with that. And for a number of customers, we've been working on integrating indeed with some video conferencing hardware. We also have SIP integration. So you can create a room, you can from that room dial out, so you can just invite somebody by just adding their phone number and then as an admin and then click on the button if you have a SIP gate obviously installed and configured. Or you can give people basically the dial-in details for that room so people can dial into the room. So these kind of features we have as well. There's quite a bit of integration work. We also have actually Teams integration. Where we're working with a partner of ours, among many other Microsoft integrations, to make it easy for organizations, well, hopefully to migrate to Nextcloud from Microsoft, of course, or use it in a heterogeneous environment. A lot of organizations have one or two departments that run Nextcloud for sensitive data. And so we put a lot of effort in integrating in a standard office environment. So a lot of integration tools available.
Tremendous. We have, unfortunately, we've come to the bottom of the hour. So thank you very much, Jos. This is.
If I could then close, I have two more little things. So we have a launch of a new version of Talk coming. That's happening at the Nextcloud Summit. So that's on June the 5th. It's more of a business-focused event for organizations that use and deploy Nextcloud at scale. If you can't be there, you can still follow the release, of course, on our blog and socials. And more open, we have a date and location for upcoming Nextcloud conference. I think a preliminary schedule will go on our website this week. That's going to happen in Berlin in late September. That's really focused on the code, the tech, well, all of you. So you're all incredibly welcome to join us and help make the decentralized internet possible. So, thank you.
Thank you.